11 hours he. The people in front of you do not hide your feelings. We understand, but unfortunately you are late. Big Quan and everyone at the same time frowned. What does Bai say? Maybe you are. It was cold for an hour. We know you've come to the stranger's aid. But you fly faster. Maybe it's faster than Jewel. If the plan is not wrong. Half a month ago, the old lady sent to ambush in the Fingland city. Have received our message. Let's go out with the peanuts. It must be full of bodies now, ha ha ha. This word just came out. Bugs of the big military department just came down immediately. It's a big hassle this time. If it's really what he says. I have to see the reaction of 7. They probably can't get their hands on it. The 7-year-old continues to be so soft. The king's punishment will come sooner or later. The first person to be dealt with was 3 of them. That's right now. There's a mocking sound in the back. I'm afraid I have to give you 7. Lost far away from us recently, even a chicken. They didn't die either. I haven't seen red in over a month. He turned his head to see the people coming. He shouted angrily. You shouldn't be in the middle of the road. Killed, and why? On the contrary, the Long Nine saw him happy. If you get lost here, basically, nothing's going to happen. They can rest assured. Probably the most he told me about half a month ago. Laugh for 2 hours. Said with contemptuous lips. You said those immortals. Or the whole thing has been dealt with by Lao Tzu. What did he just scream out of fear? How can? Flirt your eyebrow. Probably the most unassuming. The 5-year-old in heaven is still alive. Hey ha ha ha, but unfortunately the mind is not very good. First 2 elders of Hentai Lin. They're 2 complete idiots. When ambushing the opponent, he closed his eyes. He was sneaked by Lao Tzu. It is also not directly detected, so they can't open their eyes anymore. Hey. But this is also a common feature of sexual pleasure. People have long heard this word. Laughing for 2 hours. But on the contrary, the paint is a little unsightly. Glance with contempt. Look at the owner of the forest. Sun laughed for an hour. This man doesn't know what kind of man to send. Don't know. He hasn't finished yet. 5 elders Yu Min Cup hurriedly shouted aloud. Where are the 3 old men? What did you do to them? Most likely, he laughed, his eyes sparkled. Their situation, Sao. If you die, you must be dead. And I let them die together. They say their feelings are good. A good pair of friends. So we're kind enough to send them on their way. Die together forever, don't leave. 5 elders heard from their brothers. They all died at his hands. It's basically unbearable. Grinding my teeth, sure, God is not with you. I can't help but laugh coldly when I hear your words. Lao Tzu did not share heaven with you. 3 houses long standing outside. I hear the real conversation. It's a little bit of a surprise. Both the elder Yu Ming Cup and the emperor were killed. He is the third and fourth of you Min Cup. He is stronger than the 5-year-old. You can see that the elders of the other 2 houses have actually sent. The force is certainly not weak. 6 great masters surrounded him to kill a man who was killed by him. Otherwise, you can safely retreat. Without any damage. The army has been there since waking up. It's just a few months. I can't believe the world has changed so quickly. However, the 7 countries are not only provoked, being raped to this extent. There's a big storm coming. The position of the 7 families will turn the cards again. I can't help but want to move anymore. His eyes closed with hatred. Probably your son of a bitch. The old man will make you die here today. At this time, 6 families in the 7 Rs split into 2 factions. One side is the most likely to kill. One for the sake of the family. I want to keep it at all costs. From now on, the 7 families split into 2 opposing camps. Fighting endlessly. Probably right now. Suddenly flying towards the top of the city. Turn around and provoke the dead sucker. If you have the courage, go up and kill Lao Tzu. Even somewhere else. You can't move either. Which of Lao Tzu's hairs is more? This is the land of Lao Tzu. What can you do? I'm a bunch of idiots. The people who despise 10,000 sun anger also flew to the high. Towards the most flamboyant, yell out flamboyant. Acceptance to 138 spark. In front of the forest. There was a war between the 2 sides. The power of the 7 nations, the celestial masters are filled with murder. Jump towards the most secure. The army saw this scene and screamed. It's not okay to stop them. But the rest of them didn't even have time. To prevent the people of Yuwanshan in Kier soon had plans. The captain shouted for an hour, and then fired the boss. 7 colored clouds of smoke appear in the blink of an eye. Attack on the crowd. Bitcoin department. Look at this. People are panicking in their hearts. Hurry up and get behind. It's not okay to withdraw. The police saw them retreat. I laughed for 2 hours and said ha ha ha. As if you know something. The soldiers looked up at the chaos on the roof. In my heart not to worry. Surrounded by the Gao Master, such a direct attack. Even if most people have the power of God. It is also difficult to live. Most likely, I am not in a hurry right now. There is no fear in the face. But also revealed a devilish smile. Yuwanshan looked at him laughing and couldn't he help but startle. I was angry, but a little nervous. But he doesn't know where it came from. One etch the mountain. They attacked to the best of their ability. Suddenly there's a tear in the wind. With a bang. It scared them back a few steps. Wait until they've stabilized their bodies. Focus on the opposite side. I just saw where I was going to plug in a blue crossbar. Long longitudinal dragon according to the hilt winding. 3 chainsaws and blades appear light. Sharp people. I am afraid that this is a 6-year-old. Suddenly at this moment a loud laughing sound echoed. The lone warrior also slowly appeared. Smile on your mouth. Ha 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 NDTO Yuwanshan. I can't believe you know the old man's weapon. End words. Solo girl Vietnamese hand pulls the long sword up. The dragon's cry echoed through the sky. After him, there are 4 tigers with him. Warning atmosphere, looking towards Yuan Sn. The opposite is the mountain. There was a cold sweat on my forehead. He didn't expect it 1,000 times. One of the 4 worlds. The god of war. It will appear in the forest. Where this monkey coughs. The soldiers below looked at him. It's also amazing, blankly looking at each other. Filled with doubt. You and Paint Eyes, slightly wrinkled eyes, stopped talking seriously. Old Marshal. This is our fate and this boy. Please don't touch your hand. Take the school swinging around. The girl with her face up to the sky shouted ha ha ha. Funny old man Fung Destiny Town Lam Fong then. May I allow you to say 2 words? The old man withdrew his army. Ruin and paint. You guys, do you care about the power of the 7 kingdoms? This word just Ryu and Sun body suddenly wobbled. It's amazing what a royal order is. Sam and the 2 owners looked at each other. Suddenly sank to the bottom of the lake. Maybe 7 really wants to do it. 3 people silently scolded the emperor in their hearts. If it wasn't for the emperor's temperament, they won't come here either. He tried the 7 o'clock limit. On the contrary, there are the soldiers at the bottom, in the silent agitation. After all, the 700-year-old has been great. In this way, the emperor could regain their momentum. For a long time, Yuan Sun Island around to eyes. Looking at the lonely woman, the glassbow said, if there was an old man in the city. The owner did not dare to take half a step. But they must have killed our 3 elders. Even a hand of 5 elders you mend my cup. It's also broken. Please hand him over. Let's deal with it. I am very fortunate that after 3 years of my life I will repay you. Say this. Uncle Sam knows this time. If you can't touch the forest, then let him have the worst. He doesn't feel the hole either. Unbelievably lonely battle angel, turn your head and look. Probably the world has been silent. I can't believe he said it was true. The worst man suddenly bowed his head. With an evil smile, but a second later raised his head. When that changed on you. Aggressive towards Yuan Shan. And you know that you have a relationship. What about the marshal? He did not dare to ask the marshal to hand him over. It's a bear's honey lobster liver. Tell you what. My family's missing. Lost Deng Hai. He's the 5th son of a lone marshal. This word just came out. The people of the Ming Cup rolled their eyes and opened their mouths in amazement, screaming, what? And yet, the lonely warrior tied herself to the lost family. Then he took the young master of the lost family as a son. So he has his back. I'm afraid no one dares to touch the lost man anymore. The surgeon sighed. The lonely woman did not argue. They can only be powerless to warn. Boy, don't be excessive. Most likely, they don't care. Again towards Yuanshan, screaming. Who is Sun Lao Tu? The road of the lost butler. The young lady's heart. You told the marshal to hand him over. It means to tell the young master to hand over the dead. That's the equivalent of telling a marshal. The 4 generals of Ra. So you said the marshal would agree. Master will agree. Even our army of hundreds of thousands of heroes will agree. His words succeeded in bringing people to their senses. Stupid thing about being alone. Sao, it may have something to do with hundreds of thousands of soldiers. Can you poison me? I know how to say 1 to 10 without saying yes. No matter everyone's reactions. Probably the next person to speak up. And you were there to tell the marshal that I am Ra. The Yumin Cup. What do you think of me as a distant murderer? I am sorry for the loss of tens of thousands of my family. You will die in your hands. But in addition to this cruel dehumanizing behavior, Ra, the most important thing about you is not to keep an eye on the face of the great saint. You are the best in my universe. It is clear that the Lord spoke. This is the forbidden land of the 7 kingdoms. You dare to come here and make trouble. It is clear that no day in the eye is treason. People can't help but swear. Goddamn, this guy is so mean. Lost them. A family of 3 on the brink of decline. Where to get out 100,000 families? Even if you take down the 7 worlds, there aren't that many families. Don't talk about losing them. This harm is a bit exaggerated. I can't wait for the people to escape. Out of amazement, he turned to the lonely woman and said, Lonely old marshal. With the patriotic reputation of the people in heaven. How can we allow this to happen under human eyes? Guilty of such treason. Even if the front end of the show. Handling them is not too much. The one next to me is also the right one. I vow to be a pioneer. Because the leader of the 100,000 Sanbai Yumin Cup. Keep the holy phoenix from losing its face. Keep the patriotic heart of your father. World praise. Solitary girl looks at 2 people. They're jugglers. And when it comes to destroying Yumin Cup, it's not a joke, it's the world. Even the silent people are not surprised. Come here this time. They just want to fight the worst. But I don't know how to do it. This moment, they don't just have to face a lonely battle. But there's 100,000 of his heroes. This is a bit untrue, eh? Except 239 loanable foxes. You and Sun swallowed a sip of saliva. Hurriedly spoke up the marshal's loan. Don't listen to these 2 demons. You have to take the big picture seriously. Set thinking you don't want to see the world in chaos. People are not quiet. Even the people with the eyes can look at it. You war heaven, afraid he can't hear you. Take revenge on their family like that. Looks like the end of life. She was alone for a long time. Let's say this for an hour. But his words are not over yet. Maybe the world was one step ahead. Cold laughter into a loud yes. Your boss has a big mouth. If you tell the marshal to deliver, deliver. Tell the marshal not to fight. You see hundreds of thousands of soldiers. I am your home. I will be with them with you as well. This moment, he really wants to kill the bastard in front of him. They are afraid the world will not rebel. Again on one side add fire. It's so hateful. Fortunately, she alone cannot withstand the battle. Gritted his teeth in anger. A little butler of the lost family. He wanted to represent his lonely army. Marching martial arts with others. He has that status. In addition, he is a member of the 7 kingdoms. They are afraid of the world or not. Think of this alone. She bravely restrained anger to grips tightly to the right. Think about it for a while. Finally, the paint is cold. To the lonely, she said. Lonely old Marshal. It seems like we're each taking a step back. The man who keeps the forest city. We naturally dare not enter. Maybe we don't want this kid anymore. As if to respect the human face. Is it okay to ignore today? But the 5 elders were not satisfied. I want to stop the owner. This kid killed ours. Anger and a silent voice. I don't see a single marshal here who owns Sao. He turned his words towards the lonely sky, waiting for the marshal. She saw Yuanshan give way. Give him the stares down. Then nod in response. That's probably the best. I don't want to end up like that. He wants them to fight back. So I decided to light another one. Thought. Most likely, he pointed his hand towards the mountain. Ha ha ha, cup holder. You want to solve this so easily. It's too easy for you. Maybe you forgot. Not long ago, they sent men to rob and kill my family. Pity for the 100,000 souls of my family. The lone warrior couldn't help it anymore. Eyes down and shut up. According to the scream, the most likely person immediately silently bowed his head respectfully. For lonely people cannot see without exclamation. This man works hard without a face. It's a shame to be a butler. End words. She was alone and headed to Yuanshan. Master, do what you say. That's what happened today. Like a cowardly man with a sentence. The sky is still the sky. Please don't cause trouble. Waiting for her alone to meet for people. The cup turned and left. Before you leave, don't forget to speak up. In response to the marshal's advice, the old man remembered and died. Are turning people away. My husband and I suddenly remember something. Stop towards the lonely sky wondering. Old Marshal. I don't know, on the way to the forest. Can you see the man in my cup? Alone she infused heaven, suddenly astonished said, oh. This one. Guess the intentions of the mountain. The worst of all smiles. Then I cried out, Master. For generals at the hand of the marshal. You are brave. Do I need to see your people? Ha ha ha. I advise you to take good care of your family. At the same time, it also limits a little bit of subordinates. FENG Lin City. If anyone wants to come, they can come. If you want to go, you can go. Yuanshan turned away. But I can't hide my anger. Trembling with resentment. You are the one who did great. This debt he must remember. I will demand it back the next day. Then he gritted his teeth. Old Marshal. Everything you do should leave the way. You are too cute. Solo girl transmits heaven. Let's meet again. I can't believe the rain is so long. You can be an angel forever. Stop talking and quickly leave. It's a little awkward to stand there alone. He doesn't understand. Why do they have so much anger? However, it is not the most certain way to push. Yuanshan basically understood. It is his four-headed tiger. have quietly solved who they had to go to. So you want and took revenge on this girl. Get angry and leave. I'm sure you can force those people to leave in anger. Unremitting joy. Towards the lonely, she said with a smile. Have you seen it? Old Marshal. If people forgive them once, they immediately have this form. Solo girl, fiery temperament. I was angry to see them like that. I knew I should teach them a new game. The beaver on one side also nods. The disgruntled supplement says, no wrong 3CA. Or the horse whore. My brother and I will destroy them. The lonely woman's impatient eyes glowed loudly. Okay, don't mess around. What did the old man say to you? Don't take the title of Uncle Yang. Bullying the weak. The army alone can arbitrarily move Cao. Hai bowed his head and did not dare to speak. Most likely, the world laughed with respect. The marshal's words are not true. They are the subordinates of the 7 kingdoms that can be considered weak. We are the weak ones, okay? Lonely girl angel quietly startled. It feels a bit moral. But very quickly, I was able to react. Close your eyes most definitely. You are the butler. I can safely advise them to return. But the one who always wins is you. You call yourself weak. You see, you made a strong man bleed. This word just came out. The soldiers behind him laughed softly. This word is not wrong. The lone warrior glanced at them to speak. You like to think unlike those people. Not to birth. But there's a destiny in you. You can't enter the forest half a step. The army with you came here to support the lost family. But the situation in front, they basically don't need them. So there's no need to violate the ban of Emperor 7. Thought then everyone quickly nodded. That's of course. Get a response. Soldier of war immediately ordered for Solidar. Retreat back to camp. He hasn't left yet. Most likely, he was in a hurry to speak. Wait a minute, Marshal. Is it necessary for the missing family to show up? I don't know, maybe. I look a little bit at the lost sea. The lone warrior nodded and said, Kid, you also gave the old man an angry stomach today. Give it back to you. The old man doesn't want to see him today. Just finished in. With a blink of an eye, 5 people left. The sea is a bit of a mess. I look most anxiously at you. Does your father really hate you? Now in the air. And again the voice of the fire. Ha ha ha. 5 rest assured the marshal who has a hard and soft mouth. More than the first love. If you are angry, you will not be angry anymore. Hear this word. The lost sea can breathe a sigh of relief. Probably touched his head. He walked back to the people who were dancing. Long time no see. You guys are coming to our tribal support, aren't you? Don't worry, it's okay now. Laughing for an hour. Are you sure he's a lost man, of course? Ha ha ha, my brother introduced me. These are our owners. The Dragon King is the master of the sword. And this one is. Long 9 hasn't finished yet. The army was pleased. Voice of praise. Eyes of the tendency to NDTO. Track the manager of martial arts Songkwan. I truly deserve to be my long-time husband. Long Dad Phi heard and happily congratulated. Congratulations, Ho Long Dance has a precious groom, ha ha ha. The opposite is most likely. The eyes are a little unsightly. Not before I left the dance. He made it clear to them. This is not over yet. I really don't want to have anything to do with women. His love interest is not there. 240 friends from far away to visit. The surgeon laughed for an hour. Most likely, then said coldly. The drug can be drunk. But words can't be spoken casually. Once upon a time we came to dance. I just want to get the jade. It has nothing to do with the city. Please don't talk about this later. The army looked at him in amazement. Your long dance is not the dragon damn tiger's grave. What's the rush to define a relationship like that? Even the Dragon Ball. Doubtful or not less. The tendency to. He was called the first American. She is the goddess of many people's dreams. But now he is offered to the door, and he does not want to. It's not inside you. Peony long master temperament. Can't help but scold. The world must be one with you. Do you feel guilty for doing that to her? I think it's probably best to listen to this. What's the fault? You are all saved by the old man. Including this fucking grandmother. The old man himself saved his life. The Lord does not owe you anything. His words had just fallen into the ice. Around the body radiates cold air. She lived a lifetime. This is the first time I've ever been scolded so directly. Besides, this guy is a kid. Not without a little anger. But she also agreed with what he said. It makes sense. Just woke up. You've heard the magic story about this boy. Today I look at white instead of black. To set aside their own interests. Make her fight heaven and you Min Cup convicted. Once upon a time it was not good. That's a sinister character. But if you dare to sin, you will later give him enough. The form wipes the owner unconsciously stagnant, angry to shiver. But it can't be refuted. Your words are not wrong. They were all saved by a medic. In what capacity do they criticize him? But she is a little disgruntled. Subname Silver. Long 9 embarrassed laughing hastily stand out reconciliation. Hey ha ha ha, everyone is the one. You don't have to be angry about something. Long Dat Fei next door also laughed. Urgent task. We have to deal with the dangers of our four homes. Don't act on emotion. The army heard this and laughed for an hour. Long, the owners are right. The old man was so violent. Please take care of the housekeeper. Most likely, a glance at her. Silently nodding in appreciation. Clearly, that had nothing to do with her. But for the sake of a long dance, you can throw out that error detector. No tiger is a scary person. I thought, and he hurried to speak. Before, I acted rudely. Please ignore Cho. The key gathered enough today. Maybe I agree with your suggestion. To form an alliance. If so, that proves the benefits of our four homes as one. Or in other words, we're all people who have been pushed to the wall. We can't not ally with each other. Most probably just finished. The army continued. That's right, old man. The owners and the owners. I just attended the Seven Kingdoms conference. It's like the Butler track predicted. Of course, the emperor intended to unite the seven families. And we all drink. Has joined the faction of the emperor. Most likely, his eyes lit up in a hurry to ask. Seven countries conference. After all, there's something to tell us. The army department gave a nod. Let us make everything clear to the best. Somewhere unknown. And give thanks to the wind next to the supplement. Waiting for the whole story to be told. Most likely your face. Back and forth and whisper. I also find it strange. Why didn't the emperor come? Fonglin City. That's what it turns out. The name of the emperor. The emperor of heaven is a terrible man. However, the next door does not obey this word. Oh my God, what a terrible thing. For his great CA. Give the people a cup. Detecting the limits of 7. And I myself don't show up. Clearly a coward. His word just ended. Maybe the second one doesn't laugh coldly. Rotten boy. It seems that Lao Tzu has to teach the first class. To avoid later meeting the master to suffer again. It is often said that the most unwitting is the emperor. The first thing. The old man killed his son. And he didn't have a fight. Sent a group of Gao masters to Fonglam City. To pursue Lao Tzu. This person is very calm. The second thing after the loss of your son. He was like a man who had nothing. Not only did he not want revenge, but I'm thinking of every possible way to fail. Exploring the limits of Emperor 7. That this person has large lice. Ordinary people can't match. This is what it looks like to be a man doing a great job. Should have. The son later to inherit the position of the host of the family. First, it is not necessary to know what the power is, so let's not talk about it. But you must remember one thing. Must be unintentionally meaningless. This word just came out. The people behind me were stunned. There is no one in the world who teaches such a lack of mastery. But I can't help but admit his words. It's true. In this cruel world, sometimes love is a burden. For the longest time ever. Look at everyone speaking with love. Current picture. If King 7 showed his attitude, then your homes will be safe for the time being. About the lost family, we've got the marshal's poison on our backs. It should be safer, ha ha ha. I mean, they really want to give a damn. I don't know how lucky you are. Clinging to the giant tree is the lonely battle sky here. Keep the lost family safe. Long 9 is still wondering about the lonely battle sky. Here why mention? I can't help but ask my brother. The Lost Brothers. When did you get involved in a relationship with a lone warrior? And he also used the word see as a meaning. I think most people look forward to. Laugh at me for an hour. We just met the lone marshal. Only half a month. In this short period of time. How to attract relationships. I can only say, there is nothing in this world we can't do. Right after that, he laughed for an hour. That's right. That's right, there is an elite young master like this. The Lord saw them as children. Being a disciple is only a matter of time. To people long jerking.